Today's talk is called By Default or Design. Mary Morrissey in her teachings on Prosperity Plus say, we're either living life by default or by design. We have no choice. We're doing it one of two ways. You can make it somebody's fault, or you can live it by design. Either way, you are divine, and there's no way to change that you'll get the results of the choices that you choose to keep making over and over and over and over again, because we are made in God's image and after her likeness. That's who we are. We are beings of imagination. And we so much control the things that happen to us, but how we respond to those things that happen to us. I've been involved reading two different books about the same teacher. The teacher for both of these books is called Cancer. Cancer, the teacher called Cancer. For Ken Wilber and his beloved Treya Wilber, the book is called Grace and Grit. And it's a story of her 5-year journey through her process of cancer. And it's called A Deep and Searing Look at Living, Dying, Loving, Death, and Resurrection. The teacher for her becomes cancer. The same cancer teacher is with Anita Moorjani, the book that's being taught and has been taught by a book study group called Dying to Be Me. And it's subtitled My Journey from Cancer to Near Death to True Healing. Both books are about the healing journey, because we are here, my friends, to awaken to oneness and wholeness. You are here to awaken to oneness and wholeness. That's why we are here. Her experience is a 5-year diagnosis of trying every particular manner and way to heal herself physically from cancer. She goes through chemotherapy, super chemotherapy. She does all the particular alternative things you could possibly do, and she ends up dying from the cancer in a blaze of light and glory. Yes, this person dies from the cancer, has a near-death experience, and enters into the world of spirit, the kingdom, the queendom of Allah, where the Kabbalah says 99% of us lives and moves and has our being in this place called spirit. We are so magnificent. We are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by spiritual law, and she is blasted back into her body, and she's immediately, someone told me this, there was no time frame. She came back and the cancer was gone. Now I want you to know that I prefer this outcome to this one. The long one, the long journey. But she also went back into the light, into wholeness and oneness. I prefer coming back and writing a book and being completely healed, but you don't know which one is the one for you. All we know is we have spiritual principles that we can engage to help us live the life we were intended to live, not sure of what the outcome will be for us, except to know it's a journey towards wholeness and oneness. That's what we're here for, and everybody has their own individual curriculum about what that's going to be. Mary Morrissey says that we live our life by design or default. That every day you wake up and there's this book that opens up. And on the left side of the book is all the stuff that's been the life that you've had so far. Everything that's happened is called your past. And the other side is a blank page. It's an open book. It starts off from the moment you step out of bed in the morning. You begin to write what you'd like to see your life to be that day. You become, she says, the scribe of what you'd like to describe your day to be. Every day you become that scribe. And you write in the book of life what you'd like this day to be. And so since we're doing it anyway, the class is designed to help us choose what we'd like our life to be. She likens it unto a blank check that you get from the Lord God of your being. It's blank, but you have to know how to fill the check out. You have to know how to do it right. You have to learn where to put your signature and how much money to ask for and where to sign your name. The universe is like that. So you have to be very clear about what your intention is for your life. A life lived by design rather than default. Yes? That's how the principle works. You are made in God's image and likeness of light. Every time you think a thought, you press energy into this invisible substance, and then it becomes through your thought, the word, the deed, the habit pattern, and the experience you have in your life. That's the way it works. So we're learning how to choose a conscious design for our life. That's how it works every single day. But what happens when something drops in that doesn't appear to be something we designed or want in our life? Well, then what happens? A student came up to me, I'm a student, by the way, after our class in Prosperity Plus, and she said to me, I've taken classes like this before. They're very exciting. How many of you have ever done the 4T with Stretton Smith? You know, very exciting class. She goes, I've done these before. Couldn't wait till you had one like this here. Because when I was in the 8, 9, 10-week course, everything happened to me. Miracles of abundance and prosperity. I was designing a life that I'd love to live. It was really tremendous, and I couldn't wait to get into another room with a group of people doing that same practice again. But what happened to me after the 4T program was there was this great big huge crash that happened in my life. About a week later, my life hit the fan. Everything turned upside down. There were floods and earthquakes and all kinds of things, and I was going, well, what happened? Who designed that? Particularly after this huge, incredible experience of bringing forth whatever I wanted in my life, and then everything falls apart. Do you have an answer for that? I'm going to give it to you. Your life, of course, is by design, but it's not designed only by you. It's designed by the beloved, in whom spirit is well pleased. Your life is designed to awaken you to wholeness and oneness, and whatever the particulars are of those circumstances that you might be confronted with, I can't tell you what they'll be. I like this one better than this one, but it doesn't matter what I like. I get not what I want, I get what I need to awaken to who I am. And that can come in any form, through any teaching, if you understand that it's all part of awakening to oneness and wholeness. That's why we are here. So the teacher who teaches this course with Mary, her name is Karen Joyce, and she's up there in these DVDs, and she's as powerful as Mary is in every right. And she's teaching Living a Life by Design. She's been doing it for 20 years. She's what Mary calls her CPO, Chief Possibility Officer. And she's there in front of the camera as much as Mary is, telling us how to design the life that you want, not by default, but by designing it. And while the class is being filmed, the DVD, she ends up getting diagnosed with cancer. And she says to the group, I am going to heal my body of cancer. I'm going to heal myself of cancer. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to use the same principles that work in every area of my life to do just that. I'm going for healing. And a couple of months later, she had her healing. On October 11th, 2011, she died of cancer. Now, was that by design or default? Was it her fault? A lot of times when we get these spiritual principles, we do a good job of beating ourselves up, don't we? I must have done something wrong. I didn't apply the principle right. That's why this happened. That has nothing to do with the truth. Nor does anything I'm saying negate that spiritual principle always works through your thoughts and your feelings, and the energy you put out returns to you. However, there's a mystery to this that we don't need to figure out, but just participate in. Mary Morrissey talks about 4 different areas of our life for designing our life. One of them is your body, your relationship to your body. I would love my body to be thin and healthy, and my mind to be clear and whole. I would love to have that in my body. Would anybody else not like that? I would love my relationship life to really go well. I'd like to meet somebody who loves and shares the same things I do. I see myself doing that. I would love to have all the financial resources I need to make my life work so I could do the things that God would have me do. Love those things. I would love to have a beautiful relationship with someone. Well, Mary Morrissey's been married 5 times. Is that by design or default? And is it his fault or her fault? When you look for results to happen a certain way in the outer world and cling to this or nothing else, you're going to be disappointed and you're going to feel like you're being sabotaged by spirit. A better approach is not so much, I'm going to make this happen, but I'm going to design my response to what happens to me. I'm going to design my response of what happens to me. Rather than try to make it happen, I'm going to design a response to what happens to me, and I'm going to take responsibility for what I have now, but I'm not going to beat myself up when it doesn't appear the way I think it should. Mary Morrissey had one of the largest New Thought churches on the planet today. It was a megachurch, the Living Enrichment Center. 2,000 people on Sunday. 110 people in the choir. 25 band members every Sunday. I spoke in front of that group. It seemed as if that church was the church, the model for what everybody, and particularly ministers, want in their life for their ministry to be. It was really the design role model for what we wanted. And it seemed like the sky was the limit. It was think and grow rich, create your reality. Anything can happen. And for years it demonstrated that until one of the 5 husbands robbed Peter to pay Paul, and the place went broke. And there were millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of debt that the whole place went into. And the whole thing just collapsed. And many, many, many people were angry at Mary Morrissey for what happened. And I remember when she wanted to speak at my church right after that happened at Seattle Unity, I got a whole bunch of hate mail, literally emails. You know, you're getting all that junk election stuff is coming in now. There's all those hateful things about the other party. Always the one that, you know, is not yours coming in the mail. You know, trying to get you to believe that. That came with Mary. But I knew the soul of Mary Morrissey. I knew that she would design a response to this that would bring her closer to oneness and wholeness, and that she would even be a greater teacher as a result of this thing coming into her life. She would design a response that would benefit all of us who live under the banner of the teachings of awakening. She would use it for that. And she did, and has done, and continues to do just that. She's literally taking responsibility to try to pay everyone back for every single penny that went underneath. That's Mary Morrissey. That's what she's doing. So those things that come into your life, when they happen to you, don't beat yourself up about it. This is what's here. This is what my deeper self has designed for my program right now. I prefer the love and the light one, but sometimes it's the longer path to healing. Either way, you will go into the love and the light and the delight. In her book, she talks about her growing relationship with the beloved. And this woman lived every day as if it were her last. When you get a diagnosis that you're terminal, and by the way, can I give you your terminal diagnosis? You are terminal. Okay? So stop waiting for something to happen to engage and live the life you're here to live today. Your life is limited. Don't waste it. And every day she lived her life as if it were the last, doing everything she could do to stay in her body, to stay with her beloved one. She calls it passionate equanimity. Do you like that? Passionate equanimity. Passionate to live each day to the fullest. Living her dream. Wanting the book of life to open up and on the back page to say, cancer-free. Every day she expected that. And a part of her realized that might not happen. And that it was this or something even greater. And she began to fall into a practice of equanimity. I want to share with you one of her favorite quotes, because I fell in love with this woman in this book. The chief act of will, says Father Thomas Keaton, is not effort, but consent. Can I say it again? The chief act of will is not effort, but consent. To try to accomplish things by force of will is to reinforce the false self. But as the will goes up the ladder of interior freedom, its activity becomes more and more one of consenting to God's coming, to the inflow of God's grace. Yes! Consenting to the will of the present moment. Knowing you don't know what that is going to bring for you. It doesn't negate that you don't make your goals clear. I wrote up goals for what I want from my body. I wrote up goals and a vision for what I'd like to see in my creative life, my financial life, my relationship life. And I give myself fully to that every single day with a passion that it will happen and an equanimity that how it unfolds is not for me to figure out. Not my will, but thine be done. I can do nothing by myself, but I can do all things through Christ, Spirit, Buddha, nature, who strengthens me. So you show up every day fully alive, knowing that your part is to do your part, knowing that you live each day as if everything depended upon you, and you surrender knowing everything depends ultimately upon forces greater than you, on the presence of God in your life. You just practice that word over and over and over again. So her story was my story, the journey that we're all on. She took what she got handed and used it for awakening and staying passionate and staying present, but also surrendering and being open to a greater will than just her own. And right up to the last day of her precious, incredible life, she was passionate about staying alive in her body. And then one morning she woke up and she looked over at Ken, her beloved, and she said, "I'm done. I'm finished. It is finished." And this was a 5-year journey. He just picked her up and scooped her up and said, "Okay, honey, I'm with you." And he carried his beloved Treya up the stairs to this bed. And he propped her up on pillows. And she sat there, and she was like a living, radiant Buddha. And all she could keep saying was, "I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I love my life. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I love my life." And for 2 days, people came to see her who loved her. And all she could say to them was, "I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I love my life. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy." And the night of her death, a huge storm came into Boulder, Colorado. 130, 40-mile-an-hour winds came in. None of it was on the radar. It just came in and it blew with an incredible force of wind. Her spiritual name was Wind Horse. The wind had come blowing in, getting ready to take a great one into the awareness of love's presence, which is our natural inheritance. And when the wind died down and stopped, Treya, Killiam Wilbur, she took her last breath. And everyone she loved was with her. She graduated into wholeness and oneness, which is what we're all here to do. She had a graduation party. And they left her sitting up on the cushions, and after they all said their goodbyes and prayers, they wanted to leave her body alone for a while, because the belief is people holding on to you can keep you sometimes stuck. So they wanted to give her time to do that. And when they came back 10 hours later into the room, she was sitting spine straight up. She had a huge smile on her face. Yeah, that is what we are. That is who we are. That is what we come from, my friends. This is what we're here to do. Do I appreciate more or would like to have happen for me this approach? Of course I would. But that's not for me to figure out. The awakening is to wholeness and oneness, and either one of them will do, and I can't tell you which one will be true for you, and neither can you. Just show up every day for the incredible life, the Buddha-filled life you have been given. I wanted to share with you this wonderful part in the book with her conclusion to all this, which is exactly the same conclusion that Treya came to. It's in one of the concluding chapters in the book on Dying to Be Me. It's called Allowing and Being Yourself. "I now live my life from joy instead of fear. Before, without even realizing it, everything I did was to avoid pain or to please other people." Anybody relate to that? Treya had the same situation. "I was caught up in doing, pursuing, searching, and achieving. I was the last person I ever took into consideration. My life was driven by fear of displeasing others or failing, of being selfish, of not being good enough. In my own head, I always fell short. I came back into my body, not to accomplish anything. I came back to be. Because of this, everything I do now comes from love. I don't worry anymore about trying to get things right, complying with rules or doctrines. I just follow my heart, and I know that I can't go wrong when I do so. Ironically, when I follow my heart, I end up, I love this line, pleasing more people with my new self than I ever did with my own self, because I'm so much happier and feeling much more liberated. I'm living in a life of joy, because joy is my birthright and joy is what I come from. And whatever your life shows you, that is the conclusion to this illusion. It is the design that you come to that today. right here and right now, and not wait for conditions to be right to engage that truth now. So let's just take a look at our lesson summation. I'll start screaming at you. Default or design. Life, your life, my life, is like an open book. On the left side is everything that your life has been up into and including this day. On the right side is a blank page that you get to fill in. You get to decide what you will describe your life to be in each moment. And whatever you call your life, it will become for you. That's who we are. Wallowing in thoughts. I did this all week long. What a long week. Wallowing in thoughts of how did I create this situation, trying to find out who's at fault is a path that leads to nowhere, but bless me that I keep trying it. In any one moment, we can design a response that is life-affirming and moves us closer to awakening to oneness and wholeness. The chief act of will is not effort but consent. To try to accomplish things by force of will is to reinforce the false self. But as the will goes up the ladder of interior freedom, its activity becomes more and more one of consent to God's coming, to the inflow of God's incredible grace. And that happens right here and right now. So when you open up the book of your life tomorrow morning and get up and it is a blank page, start off with the top by saying, I consent to God's presence. I consent to God's Spirit. I consent to God's unbelievably clear picture of me to be made known through me, through every choice and decision that I make. And then write what you'd like the day to be, because God will continually say yes to whatever is the highest and good for you and all beings to awaken to wholeness and oneness. And finally, let me end with a Richard Levyism, which I think is so cute. Actually, this whole thing is a Richard Levyism. We're all here to complete our journey into wholeness and oneness. Say that with me. We are all here to complete our journey into wholeness and oneness. I'll say this part. Your life and every detail in it is custom designed by the cosmic mind with the real you in mind to help you do just that. There are no accidents in God's plan for salvation. The design is that you awaken to oneness and wholeness. May you, whatever the approach is for you, find the light that's right here and right now, in the life that you're living right here and right now. That's the design to awaken to who we are. You can't go wrong, my friends. Enjoy your day. God bless you. Amen. All right.